Early January 1980 means it's FA Cup third round weekend on the big match Revisited. Spurs host Manchester United at White Hart Lane, whilst Manchester City try to avoid an upset at fourth tier Halifax Town in front of a sellout crowd at the Shea.
And welcome again to this special FA Cup edition of the big match. And on the programme today, three of the ties that made yesterday's third round such an important occasion. There's the blockbuster as Spurs face Manchester United. There's the fascination of second division Birmingham City meeting Southampton, going so well in the first. And the real magic of the cup as fourth division Halifax find themselves pitted against first division Manchester City. Well, we've cleared the decks to bring you as much of this exhilarating action as we can in the next hour. And we should be talking to the men at the centre of it as well. And away from the cup, Osvaldo Ardiles of Tottenham talks for the first time about his future, which could mean very good news indeed for Spurs fans. But let's get on with the action now as we come to our main match. Spurs against Manchester United. United dramatically beaten in last year's final by Arsenal. And in the minutes leading up to 3 o'clock, United, instead of going onto the pitch to warm up, made do with the corridor outside their dressing room. And of course, none of the 45,000 crowd at White Hart Lane saw any of that. But many of them were waiting instead for the first glimpse of a new name in a Tottenham shirt, 17-year-old Terry Gibson. And indeed, as we wait outside the Tottenham dressing room, Steve Perryman leads out his team. We get the first glimpse of the boy who today sets out to do a man's job. Terry, he stands only 5'4", there he goes. He's last but one in line. A little bit of horseplay there from Terry Yorth to see who goes out last. And here come Manchester United, led by Martin Buchan, preparing to face what they know is going to be a hard and difficult afternoon. So the crowd greet Terry Gibson, just 17 years old. He used to watch Spurs from the terraces here from the age of 9. His mother and father are in the stands to watch him today, and what a day it must be for them as well. Just 9 months ago, he was still playing for his school side at Hyams Park in Essex. He made a great impression in his first game for Spurs against Stoke last Saturday, and now his attacking potential will be tested by men of the calibre of Gordon McQueen, so experienced as a defender, but who's also scored himself in 3 of Manchester United's last 4 games, with Martin Buchan, his fellow Scottish international, alongside him to keep a sharp watch on the Tottenham newcomer. These then are the teams. The Spurs manager Keith Birkinshaw makes a couple of changes. Paul Miller comes into the defence in place of Gordon Smith, his height to offset the challenge of Joe Jordan. Ricky Villa comes back to the number 11 shirt, and John Pratt moves down to substitute. Meanwhile, Manchester United manager Dave Sexton has named an unchanged side for the 5th successive game. A side that was last here 5 weeks ago when they beat Spurs 2-1 in a first division match. Indeed, the two clubs met in the FA Cup 6th round last season when United won on a replay. United, I'm sure, will know all about the scoring capabilities too of Glenn Hoddle. A brilliant goal against them here in the League Cup and another in the league game as well. The referee today is Pat Partridge from County Durham. And for the mighty crowd that's been queuing at White Hart Lane almost since dawn, the long wait at last is over. So it's Chris Jones passing to Terry Gibson as Spurs get the game away. They're in the white shirts, attacking the goal to our right. Manchester United in their famous red. United have lost only one of their last 8 games, and that was at Liverpool, so there's some excuse for that. Spurs, in fact, who've not won a home FA Cup tie since 1972 when they beat Rotherham in the 4th round, and that's certainly a record that they'll want to bury today. Miller playing it back to Alexic. Well, there's about 9 inches in height difference there between McQueen and Gibson. A nice picture. Now trying to get Gibson on his way. Now McQueen. Well, the little man caused a mild amount of panic there, because I think for certainly quick. Terry Yorth having a long talk there, a long shout there with Terry Gibson, giving me the impression that maybe they want Gibson to have a run at the ball, through balls over the back four to test his speed and United's defence. Still doing it, as you can see, Terry Yorth, a good captain. Now it's Yorth playing it there towards Chris Jones. No penalty. The referee had a good look at it and kept his arms firmly behind him. Say that looked dangerously close to being a penalty to me, but instead it's Jordan sending McElroy on his way. A little back pass here for Macari to have his shot charged down by Perryman. And a throw. That's certainly, that incident a moment ago looked perilously close to being a penalty for Tottenham. And Houghton, well, he got it away, but only as far as Koppel. Played on this time for Wilkins. And a brilliant piece of keeping by Milja Alexic. All starting when Chris Houghton did well, in fact, to get down there, but his clearance was a poor one. Gave Manchester United possession, and Wilkins, sprinting away there, suddenly saw the opportunity. What a good save it was, though, by Alexic. So Thomas with the corner for Manchester United. McQueen up on the line again, jostling there with Alexic. Corner floated in one, and a good one too. He just got his fingertips to that, did Alexic, and it's Jordan now for Manchester United again, looking to get the better of Miller, but couldn't do so. And Ardiles is there to help on his way, but again a clearance, only coming as far as Wilkins once more, curled in there towards Koppel. The flag stayed down, and Koppel couldn't quite get his foot to it. So Wilkins almost not scoring, because it was a good save by Alexic in one moment, and then popping up on the other side of the field, curling that one in, helped by the wind which was behind it, and Koppel just failing to get his foot to it. So two good pieces of play there by Ray Wilkins. Now McAllister. Yorth, Ardiles. Knocked out of the way there by... Oh, a tremendous save by Gary Bailey from Chris Jones. After McQueen had blocked that shot, which looked as though it might have been dangerous, and it looked as though United had got over that little crisis. A good shot taken quickly by Jones, and what a save. And a foul on the keeper as the corner's taken. And a free kick to Manchester United. But no doubt, so far as Manchester United are concerned, who the hero of this particular moment is, it's Gary Bailey. And Yorth playing it in now, again for Ardiles. Little dummy there on McElroy. Now for Jones. Well, he's firing him in. That time Bailey was leaping across his goal, but he didn't get a touch to it and didn't have to. Just a fraction too high. Koppel busying himself down there, and Macari as well, but it's a goal kick. Oh, a corner. Just flicked off a Tottenham defender. Queen up again. McElroy. Jordan, a big threat as well. Chris Jones back to watch Gordon McQueen. Again with a corner, curled in there. Chris Jones getting up, but didn't quite get a touch to it. Wilkins trying to get a touch to it. He didn't also. Macari there, and it's still not in. And it was very nearly Wilkins who got the final touch. And And now here's Thomas, onside, but a goal kick. Well, what an amazing scrimmage that was a moment ago in that Tottenham 6-yard area. Makari had a shot and Alexic beat it down superbly. In the end, it looked as though it might come for Wilkins, but no, Spurs got it away. Gibson again. And Buchan holding him off. Oh, smack in the face there by Nicol on Gibson, and the linesman is flagging on this side. Now, he may have seen it. Certainly what I saw was Nicol slapping at Gibson. Now, the linesman is coming out onto the field to have a word with the referee here. Well, he's saying to the Manchester United players, look, I don't want any conversation with you. He's feeling in his pocket for a card for Jimmy Nicol. It's a yellow card. Well, I think that'll be greeted with a certain amount of relief by Manchester United fans who saw it. They may have thought that it might have been more severe. And what Jimmy Nicol might well be saying is that something had happened to him before he retaliated. Well, I couldn't tell you, but I certainly saw a slap, and you've seen a yellow card. Against the railings. Well, that was what young Terry Gibson was doing a few years ago. The terraces. Now Hoddle. Just over. Hoddle has not had the best of first halves. His passing has been just that little bit below par by his standards. Caught that sweetly enough. And the half-time whistle goes. A goalless first 45 minutes. But my word, it wouldn't have been if Chris Jones had had a little more luck with his shot, or indeed if Gary Bailey hadn't been in such superbly acrobatic form to claw it away when it looked odds-on, Spurs going into the lead. A first half that really hasn't quite lived up to the great expectations that we had of the game, but very exciting in bursts, with Spurs having a couple of rifling shots on goal, and indeed Melia Alexic being called upon to make 2 saves, one from Wilkins and one from Makari, that might easily have put United into the lead. A very evenly balanced third-round FA Cup tie here at White Hart Lane. A half-time score, Spurs 0, Manchester United 0, and we'll be back with the second half. So Manchester United get us away at the start of the second half as we welcome you back to White Hart Lane. The score 0-0. Manchester United now attacking the goal to our right. Pitch really in remarkably good condition after such terrible weather in the London area this week. In fact, Spurs used or borrowed the covers from Lords to cover one of the penalty areas that was particularly hard hit by frost. Gary Bailey penalty area at the moment, but it was a penalty area that was shielded by that stand for so much of the time, but the cricket covers did the trick. Well, Jordan's okay again. A free kick for Manchester United, who've attacked well in the first half, and back it goes to Melia Alexic. McAllister to Hoddle. It's another throw to Spurs. Oh, and a fall for Ardiles. Got Gibson up as well, but well, he got it at the second go, and here's Hoddle. The little chip coming in towards Villa, but Jimmy Nicol's there, and Koppel then gets it away. A free kick. heartily involved there. Maybe not as light-hearted as I at first thought. And Makari just being called across for a quick word, and Miller as well. All's well, as long as the warning is observed. Now towards Gibson, who popped up there with a header. Chris Jones there. Gibson trying to get in once more. Ardiles with a chance! Well, he was beaten there. It wasn't a powerful shot from the little Argentine, but it left Bailey unsighted as the ball went into the back of the net. And the interesting thing was that it was Terry Gibson who early on had scored an important header in that little sequence. And Ardiles with the touch that went wide of goalkeeper Gary Bailey. Spurs 1, Manchester United 0. And the scorer, Osvaldo Ardiles, just as he did in the FA Cup tie, 6th round here last year, when he put Spurs ahead then. On that occasion, Mickey Thomas came back and got an equaliser for Manchester United. So Keith Birkinshaw sees the prospect brightening now for Tottenham. Well, the little man, the yellow card there for Yorath. The yellow card for Terry Yorath for the foul on Mickey Thomas. Houston with the throw for Manchester United. Yorath with the header away. Bucket now for United. United's throw. Nodded on there towards McQueen by Jordan. Comes out for Coppell. He blasted that well. Houghton got in the way of it though. Wilkins now trying to go all the way. No, a little pass here for Jimmy Nicholl. Crossed in once more, a deep one towards McQueen, who was pushed. And a penalty, I think, has been given, yes. The push on Gordon McQueen has planted the ball on the penalty spot. There's the push, and it looked a good one. It looked a good penalty. And now it's a question as to whether McIlroy, well, I think the yellow card's coming out first for too many Spurs protests, and it might be Ardiles, the hero of a moment ago. Indeed it is Ardiles who gets the yellow card for protesting too vehemently about that penalty. People would care to be in Sammy McIlroy's shoes at this moment, or indeed in the shoes or boots of Milia Alexic. So here we go then. Oh, a further delay, the ball not properly on the spot. Winding up the temperature a little bit more. McIlroy now. 1-1. Sammy McIlroy. His 4th goal of the season and his 2nd penalty. Hit really firmly to Alexic's right. Spurs 1, Manchester United 1. Sammy McIlroy. His nerve held in spite of the delays. Here's Ardiles again. Thomas after him this time, and again the little Argentine goes over the outstretched foot of Thomas, although Thomas had taken the ball. Question of a foul. Nicol with the throw for Manchester United. Perryman acrobatically away. Nicely controlled by Ardiles, and away he goes again with Gibson away on the right. Here on the left is Jones. Velia's gone up to join the attack as well. Holland's away on the far side. Gibson just getting in there, but Bailey just a fraction of a second before him. But again, the 17-year-old showed his speed, and in fact hung his foot out there just a little too long. His experience may be. That could have been very painful indeed for Bailey. A free kick for Manchester United. Koppel. Played on beautifully there by Koppel for McIlroy. Jordan's through the middle. Koppel's gone through there quickly as well. Macari's up and Thomas. But Spurs crowded them out. Nicol playing it in early. And a free kick. My word, I didn't hear the whistle from that. I wonder what Yorith was doing. But he knew all right, and he's found Huddle. And now it's with Gibson. Running into McQueen brought him no profit. Velia with the shot just over. Almost the first time we've seen little Terry Gibson running with the ball, but McQueen crowded him out. Velia shot, well, that wasn't too far over. As we come to the last 12 minutes or so of the game, Spurs will be putting everything, you can be sure. So far as attack's concerned, into those last 12 minutes, they can hardly relish another visit to Old Trafford. Ardiles. Getting into the box again, down he goes. My word, that looked to me. Well, the United players are standing over Ardiles rather accusingly, saying that you are tending to dive a little bit. That again seemed to be a bit close, penalty-wise. Yorith's heading. Touch on by Jones. Gibson's after that one. That certainly looked again like an obstruction, which it was. The 17-year-old. Ardiles taking it quickly. Yorith turning it in. And it was Stuart Houston, in fact, who was more quick-witted maybe than anybody in that Manchester United defence at that particular moment. Spotted the danger, got it away. It's a corner. Gibson's taken a bang on the head. Hoddle with that corner. Jones trying to go in there, somehow kept it in play. And Macari getting there before Yorith. But now Yorith turning it wide, and how well he did it. Onside. Now Huddle. No, my word, how did that stay out? That was absolutely amazing. Huddle played onside, but let's see what happens here first as Wilkins turns it inside this time for McIlroy, and that time Yorith was there to get it away. Now a free kick to Manchester United, but how near they came to conceding a second goal as Hoddle went roaring in there. And it was Mickey Thomas, in fact, who finished up in the back of the net, who somehow kept the ball out of that goal. An amazing situation. Ardiles to Hoddle, who's had a much better second half. That might come for Velia, and well, Bailey scooped that one up. That was a really fierce ground shot hit there by the Argentine, first time. Yorith can get there. It comes for Thomas, though. Terrific game he's had. Wilkins played a good ball there for Koppel. Hit well across the face of the goal, though, behind for the goal kick. Running up a shot. Well, a foot wide, maybe no more. Little Argentine dancing there when that ball went just past the post. He thought for a moment it was going just inside, but made so much good space for himself to get his shot in. Ardiles. Oh, he did well to beat Houston there. And Turiman somehow had it saved at very point-blank range by Gary Bailey. In fact, the first go at a shot was Gibson's, and then it came to Perryman, and Bailey was right on him. Looks as though they're going to make a substitution. In fact, in the last seconds of the game, Chris Jones is hobbling off. And John Pratt, who in fact scored here last week against Stoke City, the Spurs winner, comes on. My word, he's got so little time to repeat that dose now. The throw coming to Manchester United, and it's problematical whether he can even get a touch of the ball. Well, I'm not quite sure what Terry Gibson was doing there, blasting that ball away. That's going to waste a few more seconds. If Spurs are leading 1-0, that might have been a little more understandable. Chris Jones hobbling away. That's a corner. Nearly 2 minutes of injury time played. Mickey Thomas with the corner for Manchester United. McQueen up again. Will they snatch it right at the very end? They won't, because there wasn't even time to take the corner. John Pratt, who came on as substitute, didn't even get a touch of the ball, and they have to play again at Old Trafford on Wednesday, after Osvaldo Ardiles had put Tottenham ahead early in the second half. And then when there was a push on Gordon McQueen, Pat Partridge had no doubts that it was a penalty, and the nerve of Sammy McElroy held for him to plant it high and wide to the right of Milja Aleksic to make it 1-1. Spurs having much the better of the second half, and no question in my mind in the end, the last analysis, who the hero for United was. Gary Bailey, the goalkeeper, one tremendous save from Chris Jones in the first half, and then an equally brilliant one from close range from Steve Perryman a minute from time. So as the players troop off, a final scoreline here at White Hart Lane in this third round FA Cup tie. Spurs 1, Manchester United 1.
So a full-blooded cup tie that really came to life in the second half, and the replay is at Old Trafford on Wednesday night. Though a lot of Spurs fans felt that a replay would not have been necessary if two penalty decisions had gone their way, one of them in each half. In the first half, as Joroth plays this ball into Chris Jones, you certainly get the impression that Stuart Houston, coming behind, takes Jones's left leg. There, down goes the Spurs forwards, and maybe there was a case for Spurs having a penalty early in the game there. But one of the biggest controversies of all came in the second half, when Spurs clearly felt that Ardiles had been brought down inside the penalty area. The referee gave a free kick outside. You'll see here, though, the referee was absolutely right. The first contact on the little Argentine is just outside the penalty area, and even though he falls into the box, well, that doesn't matter. The referee gave a free kick, and he was absolutely right to do that. But there was also that skirmish in the Manchester United goalmouth in the second half, when people standing close by could have sworn that Manchester United's Mickey Thomas used his hand to keep out a shot from Glenn Hoddle. Hoddle has beaten the offside trap here, and as Mickey Thomas, the number 11, goes onto the line there, you'll see the ball, in fact, hits him on the back of the shoulder of all places. There. Not on his hand, not on his arm. Well, he had all the luck going, but it certainly wasn't handball. But what about the penalty that was given, the one that gave Manchester United their equaliser? It was Tottenham's Osvaldo Ardiles who was adjudged to have pushed Gordon McQueen in his back, and this is how Ardiles saw it.
Well, the ball coming from the right, and Gordon McQueen coming, and I jumped with him. And he coming with the hands, and I go with I went with the hands, and at last the referee said penalty.
He also said yellow card.
Yes. Yes, in this moment I was very, very disappointed with the decision of the referee, but I think the football is this.
Well, I thought yesterday it was a blatant penalty. Today, I'm not nearly as sure. As Jimmy Nicholl hoists this ball high into the Tottenham penalty area, watch McQueen and Ardiles jumping for the ball, but the clue is Ardiles, in fact, jumping away from the big Manchester United defender there. McQueen's arms go up and he falls to the ground as though he's been pushed. And that clearly is what the referee decided as well. He gave a penalty. Well, I wonder what you thought about that one today. But there's no question, well though Ardiles himself played, as to who was the man of the match. It had to be the Manchester United goalkeeper Gary Bailey. And he and United have a good record against Spurs.
I think now, since I've been in the team, we've played 8 times at Spurs, or played 8 times against Spurs. I've never lost one game. And yet often, during those matches, we've looked as though we might lose. Yes. But perhaps it's a special spirit at United that we battle, we never give up until the end. Yes.
Did you get that feeling ever today, that you might lose?
No, I never think we do lose until we have lost. But I will say this for Spurs, they put us under a great deal of pressure.
You had one incredible save to make in the first half. From Chris Jones.
It's all in the eye of the beholder. I mean, he hit it on the turn, he hit it very well, and it was to my left. And as I say, I just simply pushed it round.
Well, what happened in the very last moment when Steve Perryman came through? I mean, what exactly was happening there?
All I remember was the ball ran loose to him. I mean, there was 2 Spurs players there, and of all the places to run loose to, it ran straight to them. And I was in front of him, and I ran towards him. I gave him as big a fight as I could, and he hit it straight at me. And when it sticks there, there's not much you can do, it just stays there.
But he was only about a yard away at that point, wasn't he?
Probably was. If it had been further out, he would have scored, but by running at him, he had no space to score.
Well, Spurs' immediate future is clouded, of course, by the fact that they have to go to Old Trafford for a replay, where it's desperately difficult to win, and indeed, if they lose, it means that they're out of contention for every major honour this season. It's really an important night for Tottenham. But there is better long-term news for Spurs and their fans. Osvaldo Ardiles made that clear yesterday when I spoke to him about his future at White Hart Lane.
Yes, my contract finished at the end of the 81. In July of 81, and yes. I don't know what's happened, but in this moment I am very, very pleased at Tottenham, and I think when finish my contract, I think maybe I play 1 or 2 years more in England.
In England?
Yes.
At Tottenham?
Yes, at Tottenham, only at Tottenham, because I like the people at Tottenham. I was very, very happy here. I am very happy here, and because this I don't want change.
So you could play even till the end of 1983 at Tottenham. That'll be good news for the Tottenham fans.
Yes, I can. The only thing that can change my mind is if I have chance to play in the national team, you know, because Menotti want to do the thing with the Argentina players that are playing in the country.
Yes.
The only thing that can happen if maybe I go to Argentina, only for to have chance to play in the national team. If no, I carry on playing in England, yes, and at Tottenham.
Yes. Well, it looks as though Spurs fans could well enjoy, or continue to enjoy, the superb skills of Osvaldo Ardiles, at least until the end of the 1983 season, all being well. And talking about the future, what about that little 17-year-old, just 5'4", Terry Gibson? What did he think of it all yesterday?
Yeah, it was difficult. The crowd didn't, as soon as we got going, I was all right. The crowd didn't affect me at all. Didn't have any nerves.
Yeah.
It was all right, really. I enjoyed it.
Tell me about being a Spurs fan.
Yeah, I used to come watch when I was about 8, 9, my cousins and my dad, and I always wanted to play for them. It's a dream. So,
and where did you used to stand when you...
By the trainer's bench. See who was in there.
Yes?
Yeah.
And who were your great Spurs favourites when you were a fan?
I didn't really see a lot of Jimmy Greaves, only a little bit. But he was one, Steve Perryman there. When I used to watch him when he would come in. I used to get a number 8 kit, number 8 on the back. It's the number he used to play. To wear that.
What, you got a sort of a junior kit with the 8 on the back because of Steve Perryman. And now to play with him in the same side, I mean, how does that feel?
It's great. Yeah. It's come earlier than what I thought.
Terry Gibson. And coming up next, 2 highly exciting cup ties as Birmingham City face Southampton, Halifax Town meet Manchester City, and that's right after this short break. Welcome back, and for our second cup tie today we go to the Midlands for Birmingham City against Southampton. Birmingham have forced their way up amongst the front runners of the second division in the last few weeks and indeed look a good bet for promotion now. But what about Southampton? They've started winning away from home as well as at the Dell and come to this game in 4th place in the first division. What a prospect then for the 24,000 crowd with ATV's cameras there with the commentator Hugh Johns and Birmingham City in the dark shirts of blue.
Ebbert off to Williams, trying to pick up Shannon. Coming in from the left side is Holmes. Early ball on for Boyer. Oh, that was close. Phil Boyer, that away goals hoodoo still hanging over him then. Good swinging move from Southampton. And Todd. Worthington. Good ball to Dennis. Willie Johnson running inside. Here's Johnson now. Trying to get away from his men. Good sliding tackle then from Golak, which has stretched Willie Johnson out. And he does a couple of toe-touching exercises to make sure everything is still there. And climbs back to his feet. Sun. Now illuminating the penalty area. The ball down, Birchin. And Birchin stabs it into the back of the net. 1-0 Birmingham City. Just over 7.5 minutes gone. Well, the man whose leg was broken here in a cup tie, a League Cup tie against Southampton last season, gets on the end of this goalmouth Barney. Southampton unable to get the ball away. And there's Birchin, toe poking it into the back of the net. A fine goal for Birmingham City. Is Williams. Alan Ball here. And Waldron. Holmes unmarked on the left side. Good looking ball. Handball, penalty. Well, Holmes was well clear on the left side. And a fine ball across the box. Broadhurst doing his best to get there with the head, but he had the hand up as security as well, and it was the hand that referee Courtney spotted and immediately pointed to the penalty spot. So here goes Mick Shannon for Southampton and 1-1. No messing. Mick Shannon getting the applause of his teammates as he puts the Saints of Southampton right back in this cup tie. A goal, I suppose, in some respects that had looked likely for a long time. Linex gets there, gets a touch. Worthington and a chance for Gallagher. And a goal for Joe Gallagher. 2-1, and the ground erupts. Well, that throw in. And little Steve Linex, the substitute, starts it all off with this ball. Intelligently played back again, over by Kerbishley, and Joe Gallagher one-on-one, and he buries it. 2-1 Birmingham City.
A defeat for Southampton, which means that Birmingham go into the hat for tomorrow's 4th round draw. But I think Southampton might have a legitimate complaint about the first Birmingham goal. It certainly looked offside as it comes in here now, and Birchin makes a shot at goal. Look at Frank Worthington, clearly gaining an advantage and impeding the goalkeeper there. You can't see who's out of the picture, I'll give you that, amongst the Southampton defenders, but he certainly looks suspiciously offside to me. Well, our third game today brings with it all the charm and magic of the FA Cup, and I often think that this is the best day of the season when we have matches like the one coming up at the Shea, home of Halifax Town, against Manchester City. Mind you, the rain had been pouring down for so long, and there was a vast mopping up operation to be done throughout the morning up there in Yorkshire. Halifax, incidentally, who had to seek re-election to the 4th Division last season, against City, who've been in the £1 million transfer market this season. Yesterday, a crowd of 12,000 penned in behind the Speedway track to see the game, covered by Yorkshire Television with the commentator Martin Tyler, Halifax in white.
Mick Kennedy is the long throw specialist. Halifax look to get men in at the near post. Harris is one. Mountford, Hendry! Well, Paul Hendry, with just a minute gone, within a whisker of giving us a sensational start. It came from the long throw from Kennedy, which was won by Harris, who was loosely marked. Mountford was competing, Henry with a volley that was wide. Stafford. Firth is on the far post. Power. May well have been trying to turn it behind for the corner. It went in Corrigan's direction, but he couldn't stop it going out. Mountford is 9 for Halifax. Just in front of him, 5 is Harris. And it's dipping all the way, and it's hit the post. Kennedy's corner. And it went all the way across Corrigan and came out off the post. You can see rain falling, which will only make conditions worse. Had there been a lot of rain this morning, there's no doubt that the game wouldn't have been played. Power. Here's Shinton. Well, George Kirby has been so quick to praise John Kilner's performances this season. And the young goalkeeper at his most alert as Shinton flicked on Power's cross, and fine handling of the greasy ball. Bennett. Caton going on. Certainly nothing defensive about City today. And here's Robinson. Beaten away by Kilner. Bennett driving it back. Away by Harris. Well, fine reflexes from Kilner again. Kennedy, who was born in Manchester, sees himself as a Manchester United fan, so there's an extra incentive to try and put one over on City. And the volley was from Evans, from Firth rather. They were right in there, and Firth and Evans both swinging at it, and Corrigan having to make the save. So Halifax again congregate on the near post. Kennedy looking for Harris. Hendry with a second chance. Well, that is a well-rehearsed ploy, looking for Harris at the near post. He caused the confusion, and Hendry had 2 bites at it. The first one was blocked away by Robinson, and the second one, under pressure, went wide. It's a style of play that has served Halifax well in the 4th division. They play with 3 men in midfield and pull their flank men back to augment that. Makes them a difficult side to beat. But in the last quarter of an hour here at Lachey, they've really got to be looking for a winning goal. And perhaps Hendry has found it. Came right on cue from Paul Hendry. And the Lachey erupts in delight. Stafford drilled it in. Smith laid it off. And Hendry, keeping his balance, the smallest player on the field, tucked it into the corner. Here's Henry. Tapped out by Halifax. Caton struck Robinson. And Daly. Well, it was so close for Manchester City, Malcolm Allison and Steve Daly. Kilner was beaten. Shinton. City certainly not giving up without a fight. Referees looked at the watch. George Kirby out of the dugout. He knows that there's precious few seconds left. And he knows that it's over. Halifax come up with an upset at the Shea. Manchester City go off dejected. Paul Hendry is the cup hero for Halifax Town. There he goes, hair is ruffled. His goal, quarter of an hour from the end, puts First Division Manchester City out of the cup.
Well, that was one of the great FA Cup upsets, and they'll be talking about that in Yorkshire and further afield for quite some time to come. There was no comment whatsoever from Manchester City afterwards, but the Halifax camp couldn't hide their delight, and particularly the scorer of that winning goal, Paul Hendry. Fred Dinage spoke to him after the game about that goal.
At first I froze, like, and then it really hit me. I'd scored and I ran off, and a few of the lads tried to run after me and catch me. I think they caught me at the halfway line.
You missed playing in an FA Cup final once by 7 seconds, didn't you?
Yeah, that was when I was with Birmingham City.
Yeah.
We went to 2 games against Fulham.
But you're catching up with some of that now, aren't you?
I hope so, yeah.
Well, that's it for this week. Don't forget that next week on The Big Match, we should be bringing you the answer to our Golden Goals of the Decade competition and naming the winning viewer as well as action, of course, from 3 outstanding league games. This week, though, we leave you with the flavour of the FA Cup, and that was never better illustrated this weekend than when Halifax Town scored that famous victory over Manchester City. What a moment it was for this unfashionable little club, and most of all for that winning goal scorer, Paul Hendry, and what a contrast of emotions we saw.
In the last quarter of an hour here at the Shea, they've really got to be looking for a winning goal. And perhaps Hendry has found it.